9 Central Washington University students were hospitalized when they had blood alcohol contents of 0.12 to 0.35. Now, the lethal limit usually that hospitals see for alcohol poisoning is 0.30. So they had students over this limit. And what were they drinking? They weren't drinking, beer. They weren't drinking, Mike's Hard Lemonade. They were drinking Four Loko. And this is what really started this. This last October in 2010. Marketers, regulators, government leaders really realized that we have an epidemic in the United States with these kind of dangerous, highly caffeinated beverages, malt beverages. And we're going to define these real quick for you today, and then we're going to get into our point of positive matter, which is that government must protect society from dangerous goods like this, and that banning these drinks especially protects the consumer the best. So let me define these real quick and then get into the best information. So why are we doing this today? Well, caffeine, as we know, is like crystalline compound. It's a stimulant, stimulates you. It's an upper, and then so malt beverage is something based on barley or some kind of other grain, which can be created into an alcohol. And then so we're going to say that these caffeinated malt beverages have high caffeine energy drinks, and they're mixed together for the purpose of getting people extremely drunk, which we have a problem with today. But why do you not?
Yes, you mentioned that these 9 Central Washington students, how many individuals daily are hospitalized for drinking all kinds of alcohol, and not just this one that you would like to mention?
Thank you. Too many. And we think especially that these Four Loko and caffeinated beverages are marketed to children, which I'll talk to you about, kids, college students, and they're for the point of trying to get them excessively drunk. That's exactly the purpose. So thanks for that question. So I'm going to give you an example of what these are. So there's Sparks, there's Four Loko. There's a brand that I think that we won't really need to define today, and I'm going to show you why there's a difference. So why are we doing this? So government must protect society. We think that's the government's #1 responsibility. That's what the main duty is. And with these dangerous drinks, you get about 3 to 4 cups of coffee per 24-ounce can of alcohol. Within this, you get about 4 to 5 amount of beer. Right, so it's not just a little Bud Light. It's 8 ounces or 12 ounces or whatever that is. You get about 4 to 5 times the amount of that for about $3. And you're okay with that as well?
Okay. Why don't you just regulate it, like limit the amount of caffeine content? Why do you have to have a ban?
Well, we say that you can't have them together. So you can have caffeine and Coca-Cola, and you can have Bud Light all you want. But when you put them together in this potency, and then you market it to children, which we're going to show you about in a second, but they keep interrupting my speech. We think that there's a perfect storm of danger for kids. So let me get into this, right? So what is it does? It tricks your brain. That's why we're calling these dangerous drinks and why government must protect. Because you get an upper and a downer. So you get a stimulant with the caffeine, which makes you feel great while you're consuming this beverage with all these other, kids. And then what you're really doing is this alcohol is a huge downer. So in the end, you get alcohol poisoning, which is an unfortunate side effect. Time magazine reported that this alcohol and caffeine mixtures together absolutely tricks your brain. In a 2006 study publicized in Alcoholism and Clinical Experiment Research, found that they found when people consumed alcohol and caffeine together, people did not realize how drunk they were, and they unfortunately were victims of that. I would take one more and then I will continue.
Okay. Have an education campaign. Tell people about the dangers. Then let them make responsible decisions.
We think we can do more. So if the bottom half is concerned about alcohol poisoning, which we are as well, there's a problem in our society, but we think we can do both. And we think especially these drinks, because of the potency, because they're hiding the caffeine, because there's so much alcoholism, and because it's marketed to kids, which I'm going to talk about just in my second point, we think that we can do both. We can have campaigns to spread awareness to kids, to spread awareness to anybody drinking excessively, but we think especially because it's marketed to kids, we need to ban these drinks to protect the consumer, which is my second point. So why ban these drinks to protect the consumer? Well, because they're marketed to kids. When you create a flavor of strawberry soda, which is the brand that Lussier provides, which has 9% alcohol content as compared to regular beer, which is in like the 6s, we think that the strawberry flavor of this, and then with the whole college scene and the YouTube videos that they're promoting where kids are in the viral marketing campaign style trying to chug these and show off how many of these they can drink, which leads to the alcohol poisoning, possibly to the lethal standard. We think that these are especially dangerous to these kids. We think they're absolutely especially. I mean, it's not like a common, most beer drinkers think that strawberry lemonade is a good flavor. We don't think that most 21 and over adults actually enjoy strawberry lemonade. We think that that's probably because kids who are probably in their freshman year of college, who just got 18, go to a party, and unfortunately, they say, hey, strawberry loose, or strawberry juice, or whatever it's called, Sparks, Four Loko. All of these brands are flavored in the same way that isn't, that tries to mask the flavor of what you're getting, which is high caffeine, and which is a ton of alcohol, which is a problem. So, as I'm continuing on with this point about why we should ban especially these to protect the consumer, it's because it's about accessibility. Because what you get with a can that has 4 to 5 beers in it for $2 or $3, you get 24 ounces in that, it's accessible. You can just go to the local convenience store, grab a couple of them, and everyone at your party gets drunk. And then what do you have from that? Unfortunately, like we had University of Washington, you had suspected sexual assault, you had people hospitalized, you had one girl almost die because she got so drunk. And do you think that, unfortunately, this is a part of the problem here? We're showing you significant harms here that happen just, or especially from this drink. And we think especially because these are masqueraded in this plant, and we think that there's not enough awareness, which we'll agree that there's definitely more marketing that needs, or definitely more information that the government could do, which is why we're promoting this so much. So these are easy to buy, and they're hiding the contents of it. So why these drinks especially? Now, they're going to come up and say, why not ban Coke and rum at the bar? Because you could still mix Coca-Cola and rum at the bar. But then we think the bartenders have to cut off people. That's why we have laws that say, if you're really sloshed at the bar, and you keep asking, getting Coke and rum, for one, there's not a lot of caffeine in Coke compared with these drinks. And for one, we think malt is different than hard alcohol and rum. But for two, bartenders have to cut you off. It's a responsibility. So when especially that these are marketed to kids, that they take home and they drink and then they get alcohol poisoning, we think these are especially dangerous, which is why we're especially going after these. And the status quo protects the consumer. We ban drugs for the same reason, which is why the government has to protect, especially for dangerous things like this. So I've shown you significant harms, how our solving problems, and how there's benefits by protecting the consumer. Thank you so much.